we got our digital asset service providers license through SENAD, which is the National Commission of Digital Assets in Spanish, the Comisión Nacional de Activos Digitales. And it's been phenomenal. They're very stringent. They're very particular. They're very specific with whom they work with and why they work with them to protect their citizenry and the Latino American citizenry in general. I think a lot of lessons were learned in 2016 from Dubai, opening the doors up to any crypto project. Also to note, the Senado, the National Commission, is the number one regulatory agency in the world.
Welcome back to another episode of Bitfinex Talks. I'm your host, Ricardo Martinez, and today I am very, very happy to be joined by Pedro J. Solís, who is the co-founder of Liquid Manzana. Pedro, thank you for coming on the show. How are you?
Ricardo, thanks for having me, man. I really appreciate it. Doing great, man. How are you?
Yeah,
Always a
doing
pleasure seeing you.
fantastic, man. Yeah, exactly. Always a pleasure talking to you, man. So, Pedro, for the viewers who are not familiar with Liquid Manzana, like how would you explain Liquid Manzana?
Ooh, Liquid Manzana, man. We're the future, big guy. That's how I would explain it. To be very honest with you. So we're a company, man, that is tokenizing and fractionalizing the ownership of real world assets, right?
Mhm.
More specifically, we are doing a token backed by land, other precious metals such as gold. We're looking at the possibility to be able to tokenize in-ground assets, energy, in essence, all these things that are palpable, that are real, that have real value behind them.
First of all, why would you decide to focus on real world assets and real estate in terms of tokenization? Like, why was that the first like area of interest for you when you decided to delve into the world of tokenization?
Yeah, so I think we had to look at what's been tried and true. We're not trying to reinvent the wheel, right? Everyone, the original NFT in this crypto world is the land. They ain't making more land, man. So it's so if that's the original, we should probably stick with that. And there's value to land, right? If I can sell you a meme token of a cat, but there's only going to be the value that X group puts to it, right? But land, on the other hand, land has a real value. Gold has a real value. These tangible assets have real value. Therefore, no one can say, "Well, this is something that's driven by popularity." No, no, no. This has real value.
Yeah, okay, that totally makes sense. Um,
Yeah.
as far as like tokenization, there's a whole bunch of different platforms in crypto right now that are offering like different ways to tokenize things. Which way did you guys decide to go, like from a tech stack perspective, in order to do tokenization through Liquid Manzana?
So, to be very real, man, you know me. I'm not the most technical guy on this aspect of it, so I'm gonna only be able to talk very topically to that, and I can tell you what protocols we were looking to use and why, right? So we started with ERC 1155. Um, the tokenization aspect of it sounded good, and then here recently we're starting to move over a little bit to ERC 3643, right? And that's for a number of reasons, right? So the interoperability is really good. The compliance is really great, and we can have um, a lot of oversight, which is really good. Yeah. So the interoperability, the compliance, and then the management across multiple platforms and multiple tokens, like we were gonna have, right? That's why we went with the protocols we're working with currently.
Okay, nice. Um, I guess like right now in like finance, tokenization is a buzzword, and I'm talking about like legacy finance, traditional finance. They're starting to take crypto seriously, and they're looking at it like as more than just a novelty nowadays. I mean, BlackRock and Larry Fink, most famously, right now in traditional finance, has been like one of the most outspoken in terms of his hopes for tokenization. You, as someone that's like involved in tokenization, how do you see like the potential for the very near future?
I think to quote Larry Fink, which I did the other day, we were at XRP Las Vegas, and we were talking about how he thinks that by 2030 we're going to have 5 to 10 trillion dollars of tokenized assets. Just I mean, us that we are in this space, we understand this very easily or very well, but that is 3 times the market cap of what the entire crypto ecosystem is currently, right? So currently the entire ecosystem is about $3 trillion, and Larry Fink is saying that we're gonna minimally double it, probably even triple that in the next 5 years. And I think that is because we're looking at ownership, fractional ownership is the really big thing, right? Uh, we can share the profits of things with other people, right? It's not just one person hoards it all. A group can come together and be a part of one beautiful thing that yields money, right? And oddly enough, I mean, it took the internet to bring communal living back together. So I think that's pretty cool.
Like that's going to be a massive transformation though, because we're already in 2025. By 2030, that's 5 years. Like we're
Yeah,
either going
man.
to see like like a night and day like paradigm shift that is so crazy that it's going to catch us all off guard, or I don't know. Like it, that's a massive transformation that they expect to
I'm with
happen.
you on
And
that. It is an
yeah,
enormous transformation, and frankly, there are so many silos, and I don't even know if I would call them silos because they all work in tandem. But there's so many things that are just being skyrocketing, bro. Not just kind of growing, right? But the advent of AI, the advent of Willow, right? The quantum chip by Google, I believe. You know, uh, we start linking AI and these quantum computing plus this way of getting funds out to the world and the world coming together. I really don't know whether we're going to recognize what 2035 is going to look like. And that's only 10 years, man. It's going to be insane. It's going to be a hell of a ride for sure. And luckily, you and I seem to be like on the tip of that ride, man. So it's pretty cool.
yeah, it certainly is. Pedro,
Yes,
for
sir.
a lot of people don't know this, but Liquid Manzana is based in El Salvador and is one of the first companies to receive a digital assets license and operate under El Salvador's digital assets framework for regulations. Like, why specifically did you look at El Salvador and decide to base your business there? And I guess, like, as part of that question, um, like how has it been since you've set up shop there under the digital assets framework?
So what took me to El Salvador? One, I'm Salvadoran, so I was born
Okay.
to parents that are Salvadoran, and I'm a passport holding Salvadoran as well. So that's pretty cool. Uh, which is one, but reality was what really took us there was the acceptance of Bitcoin, right? So in 2021, the president, 2022, I believe the president made Bitcoin a national currency, and it was very friendly to crypto, and a lot of yeah, it became one of those little hubs, right?
Mhm.
Dubai was already being a crypto hub, and luckily we got to get one here that was on this side of the hemisphere, right? Um, so we went through, got regulated. We got our digital asset service providers license through SENAD, which is the National Commission of Digital Assets in Spanish, the Comisión Nacional de Activos Digitales, and it's been phenomenal. They're very stringent. They're very particular. They're very specific with whom they work with and why they work with them to protect their citizenry and the Latino American citizenry in general. I think a lot of lessons were learned in 2016 from Dubai, opening the doors up to any crypto projects. Also, to note, the Senado, the National Commission, is the number one regulatory agency in the world currently. So uh, they are they're amazing pioneers, and they're doing some really good stuff with the crypto laws in El Salvador. And also, it's been great. I mean, we're going step by step. We're not rushing anything, and working with them has been absolutely phenomenal. Right? They don't have unreal expectations. They have expectation that protects people. Period.
Okay. And you were like one of the first businesses to get one of the licenses, but as I understand it, like there's a whole bunch of other businesses that are currently like in line trying to get regulated as well. And then like not just like Bitcoin companies, but there's also like other companies going there for other aspects of tokenization and things that are maybe outside of like Bitcoin's purvey a little bit. Would you
Yeah,
say that's accurate?
that's very accurate. As a matter of fact, Tether. I just was made aware that Tether is setting up their headquarters in El Salvador. They're about to make a 75-story building
Yeah.
in El San Salvador, be the biggest building in Latin America, I believe. And and there are a lot of companies that are trying to go through this regulatory process, and very few of them get through. Again, it's because it's not that they're trying to be hard or keep people out, but they're trying to ensure that those that do come in are good actors and are going to do what's in the better interest of the people of Latin America. Again, I mean, we just can't have black eyes going through this and being a financial tool at this point, right?
Yeah. Yeah, no, that makes sense for sure. Um, like as an El Salvadorian company, can you do business like anywhere like else on the planet? Like pretty
Yeah.
much.
So as a,
Like, are you limited in any way? Like, can you kind of like tell people what that means? I guess that aren't El Salvadorian business owners.
there are some limitations, right? But currently those are being worked out, right? So right now
Mhm.
the SEC is doing a sandbox with El Salvador and Senad to try to uh, judge at what level do we consider something a security and what level do we not consider a security. And by level, I mean the amount of money is being spent, right? So
Mhm.
I think currently they're exploring that if it is a token that's less than $1,000, it will not be considered a securities, right? Which would
Mhm.
open up the gates to Americans and Canadians and I think Mexicans as well. Uh, they have stringent rules with whom their citizenry can work. So the
Mhm.
U.S. would not allow. I mean, everyone in the crypto space understands this, I think, but the U.S. won't allow uh, Americans to buy into different platforms, right?
Mhm.
Binance being one or Bitfinex, OKX doesn't even touch the US in any way, shape, or form, right? Because of
Yeah,
these
there's a
stringent
lot of
rules.
services too that do that. Like not even just exchanges. Like
Correct.
there's like wallets and service lending services, things of that nature that just are off limits to U.S. Customers.
Right.
Yeah. So, all right, cool. Well, thank you for that insight. And then my next question is, um, like, what's the climate like in terms of Bitcoin right now? Because a lot of people kind of have their eyes on El Salvador. The IMF and El Salvador kind of cut a deal, and the Bitcoin legal tender law has been rescinded, from what I understand. And I know like it's kind of split the Bitcoin community a little bit. Like some people have decided to like leave El Salvador, others have decided to stick it out and kind of double down on their Bitcoin efforts. As someone that's like, running a business there, like how do you see it?
Oh, ooh, okay. Candidly speaking, the IMF probably couldn't be any worse at manipulating smaller countries if it were a James Bond villain, right? I mean, it went literally, I mean, if their job was to do bad things to other countries, I don't think they could do a better job than what they're doing as is, right? I mean, they are strong arming. I think it's the 160th smallest country, you know? I mean, these guys have a GDP of like, I think it was 20 billion or something. I mean, their GDP is tiny, and the
Mhm.
IMF is strong arming these guys because they made Bitcoin legal tender. And then a month later, they go and talk about how crypto is going to be in their considerations for funding. So that in and of itself is hilarious, man. Uh, as far as what happened in the country, I think they were already having some adoption issues. So what they wanted was everyone to accept Bitcoin, similar as everyone accepts the dollar, and little known fact that El Colon is still the national currency as well of El Salvador, right? So
Yeah, just
you
nobody
can
uses it, right? It doesn't
nobody
exist.
uses it anymore, right?
Yeah.
So it was dollarized, and everybody switched over to that. But you still have colones out there that you could pay with. And anyway, so they wanted to make Bitcoin as ubiquitous as the dollar was, right? But the technological implementation had a little shortcomings, and I think with the IMF ruling, they just took it off the table from saying that they had to accept Bitcoin. Now you can choose to accept Bitcoin, you just don't have to do it. So, but beyond that, I think there's still a very strong Bitcoin community, very strong crypto community, and frankly, I think in general, if they keep moving the way they're doing, they're going to be a crypto hub for Latin America, right? I think Colombia is a very big crypto hub for South America. I think we can make El Salvador that little mecca, if you will, for crypto in general.
Yeah, I could see that for sure. So, like, as far as like the businesses that have gone there, like yours, to set up shop, like they're not pulling out; they're just operating like normal, right?
No, man, we're if anything, we're doubling down. We're in it to win it with these guys, right?
Okay.
We're trying to bring partnerships from all over the place. As a matter of fact, tomorrow I'll be with the Salvadorian ambassador to the U.S., Elena Mayorga, at an event, the U.S. strategy on AI and crypto. Uh, she's one of the presenters, right?
Hmm.
So we're definitely working hand in hand with the government of El Salvador and the people of to continue bringing the prosperity that these platforms can actually bring to these places.
And are people still like using Bitcoin to like pay? Like, can you still go to Super Selectos and buy groceries
Yeah,
with? Yeah. Okay. So like
yeah.
the
I mean, it's
companies
not going
haven't
away.
stopped accepting it or anything, like
No,
like the big chains and stuff that we're accepting.
no. The government just quote unquote rescinded the law that forced everyone to have to accept
Hmm.
Bitcoin, but you can still accept it if you want to accept it.
Okay.
So
Cool. Well, thank you for giving us your perspective on the ground there. Um, like, I guess my next question would be like, can you kind of explain how Liquid Manzana works and give us a little estimate of when you think it will be live?
the way Liquid Manzana works is we have various verticals. If we're looking specifically at the real estate aspect of things, right? We
Mhm.
have various verticals with which we would help develop through the funding of our tokens, right? So we have the agricultural model where we can uh, pay out dividends through yields of the crops. We have the energy model that whenever energy is sold back to the grid, those dividends will then get also paid back out to those token holders. There's the austere model where it's like land or conservation land or land that is just not going to be developed in any way, shape, or form. And that's just like a savings account, if you will, with very little yield, right?
Mhm.
But it fights inflation, right? So if this land is X amount, it will always be X amount, even with inflation, right?
Mhm.
So, and then the big model is the development model where we acquire land, have a partnership with a developer and something, and develop the product, and people can make money. Hopefully, that's the plan, and that's the plan, right?
Nice. And then you guys have like an exchange like built into the
We also,
platform as well.
yes, sir. Yes, we do have an exchange where people will be able to buy various types of cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin, XRP, and want to take your fiat, Ethereum as well. Uh, take your fiat from 20 different countries, I believe. I think it's 27 countries that we have fiat that we can process, and yeah, use it as an exchange. And back to the Synod, we're going through the regulatory process with those guys
Mhm.
to grant us. We have submitted our business plan to them and how we're going to do our first project. And once they come back to us, hopefully within the next couple months, hopefully we get to have a beautiful announcement at Crypto Latin Fest in Medellin. So
Nice. Yeah, I want to get into that in just a moment. But before we discuss Crypto Latin Fest, I wanted to ask you personally, like in your opinion, how important do you think Latin America is for global crypto adoption?
I think it's very important, right? Frankly, I think every corner of the world is important, right? If
Mhm.
the advent and the acceptance of crypto bridges a technological gap that needs to be done. And once you start getting into the crypto space, you start looking at the AI space, you start looking at all these innovative technologies that are imperative for the future growth of our people in general. We can't continue having these stagnations that have affected us and plagued us for, I mean, decades, man, right? Like they didn't look at what are the better ways of manufacturing, right? We all know the problems of pollution in Latin America. They didn't adopt these more stringent things that actually have made it have made better processes. I think with the adoption of crypto, better processes will be adopted into our countries. So in essence, yeah, it's imperative that Latin America adopt the usage of.
Do you feel that Latin America is like more important than other like developing regions like say Africa or Southeast Asia?
I don't know if more important is the appropriate term that I would use. I think that they are extremely important for the fact that there's also like a really big use case that Latin Americans have, and which is the remittance case, right? So
Mhm.
a lot of people from abroad send money back to Latin America, right? Crypto would solve so many problems in in that space, right? And we start getting those people to start connecting. Again, I think the beauty of crypto is how much more it opens up your brain to other innovative technologies and getting our people to just do more with a simple computer. So, like El Salvador, for instance, there are 1.6 phones to every person. That means 60% of the population, I believe that's the number, is running around with two phones, man. So if you have two phones in your hand, you should be able to run the world, man. Like, get out of here, Tony Stark. So I think that's the beauty of what crypto will do for Latin America. I think it's very important. Our people are very entrepreneurial, and you know, as Latin Americans, they're very entrepreneurial, and I think the crypto space will help just open up further markets that haven't necessarily been explored or are being explored and be able to grow them bigger.
Yeah, I would say that's already happening to a certain extent because like I know for a fact like people in Colombia are talking to like Bitcoiners are talking to like Bitcoiners in Argentina and like in El Salvador and stuff like that. So like it has definitely kind of like brought the region together already and kind of like forged those like connections and like I guess like avenues for like capital to move. All right, so let's get into Crypto Latin Fest. You're going to be there. Liquid Manzana is going to be there, and then you're also going to be on a panel at the Bitfinex Business Day.
Yes, sir.
So, yeah, tell us about it. Like, what do you guys got planned for Crypto Latin Fest?
We are one of the sponsors for Crypto Latin Fest. So we were down there in 2023. We were unable to make Crypto Latin Fest in, I believe, was it Honduras in
Yeah,
2024?
yeah, I
Yeah,
couldn't
I'm
make
not.
that one either.
I couldn't make that one, but we're super excited to be in Medellin. The ecosystem that Crypto Latin Fest has brought together is bar none. More especially addressing what we were just talking about, the space in Latin America.
Mhm.
So really excited about seeing who you go meet. I mean, the relationships that we fostered in 2023. Hell, buddy, you're one of them, right? So, but the relationships we've fostered since 2023. I mean, I talked to several of those guys still, right? I mean, again, present company included,
Yeah,
and I just look forward to continue growing. And as Liquid Manzana develops and grows, and we're about to spread our wings, like I said, uh, inshallah, we were able to have a conversation about it in at Crypto Latin Fest. But as we expand, we're going to need these partners in the Colombias, the Argentinas, the Bolivias, the Uruguays, and so on and so forth. So I think Crypto Latin Fest is a beautiful place where that happens.
yeah, I would agree completely. Um, you just brought up Bolivia, which I kind of want to ask you about because it's very, very interesting to me personally. Because Bolivia, like, very recently had like outlawed all crypto, and then like I think last year they repealed the law, and now it seems like they're just like totally opening up to crypto. They're pricing things in Tether. Like it's seems like adoption is like snowballing out there.
Well,
Have
I
you?
mean, I have noticed that. I mean, it's very similar to what happened in Morocco, right? So Morocco, same thing. They had outlawed all these cryptos, and all of a sudden now they're well. Maybe we should have this conversation. This looks like something that's not going away in Bolivia. I think Bolivia is very rich in resources, right? A lot of
Mhm.
natural resources, and they would absolutely benefit from having real financial technology that could take advantage of that and minimize some of the backlash of mining, perhaps. And I'm talking about mining natural resources of some kind.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, but yeah, I mean, I think Bolivia is going to be a really big push in the crypto space. I know Peru is looking at things as well. They're looking at digital asset laws, modifying those guys. The Dominican Republic is looking at some new digital asset laws. So I mean, it's coming, big guy. It's coming. So pretty
yeah.
excited
It's
about it.
yeah. I'm pretty excited about it too. What the future holds, nobody knows, but it seems like it's pretty bright.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So Pedro, we're running out of time, but can you give people like your website, social media, any pertinent information that they might want to consider?
Yeah. So our website is www.liquidmanzana.com. That's liquid manzana, like the fruit apple, but it is a unit of measurement for land in Latin America. For those that don't know. So yeah, liquidmanzana.com. I think it's LQDN is our um, what's that called? The Instagram, the Insta.
Is
So
it all right?
I don't really know the other ones just yet, but I'll make sure to have them
Okay.
for
I know you guys
Crypto
have a
Land
Twitter.
Fest.
I think I've
I
seen you
think
guys on
so.
Twitter. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
And then our sister company in America is Liquid Acre as well. So liquidacre.com. And our Eurasia partners, liquidhector.com. So
Okay. Wow. Nice. Well, thank you so much, man, for coming on the show. Like I said, it's always a pleasure talking to you. I look forward to meeting up with you at Crypto Latin Fest. I know it's going to be a lot of fun. So thanks for coming on the show.
Ricardo, thank you for having me, man. I really appreciate it. Cheers, bud. Talk soon.